My name's Roddy Gow of the Asia Scotland Institute, and I have had the great pleasure of arranging for Miss Heidi Kuhn and the Princess to come to the gardens to plant a tree as part of the Roots of Peace program that they've had here. A tree that will memorialise, if you like, the terrible deaths caused by landmines, those sleeping weapons that sit below the earth and many years sometimes after conflict still kill. And Roots of Peace is dedicated to lifting some of the 60 million landmines that are to be found in 60 countries. And it's my great pleasure therefore now to hand over to Simon Mill, the Regius Keeper of the Gardens.
Roddy, thank you very much. Thank you. Your Queen Highness, very, very warm welcome to you here, and many congratulations on the 25th anniversary of the foundation. It's an honour to have you planting the tree today, a perfect living symbol, as Roddy was sort of saying, of the extraordinary work of Roots of Peace. And as we were saying when we were walking up here, everything comes from the ground. My enthusiasm for your quest and this event in particular goes way beyond me just being the Regius Keeper. In a former role as a Royal Marine, I did experience at first hand the impact of conflict on individuals, on communities, on livelihoods. I've seen the effect of mines, devastation of property, devastation of farms, but more importantly I've seen into the eyes of those people who've been affected by war, by conflict. And of course when the soldiers have gone, as you know better than I, the work is only half done, peace is only half done. So I really commend you on the work you are driving forward. And it's even more poignant of course today because of Ukraine, and we're reminded that there's this challenge of post-war reconstruction, of dealing with mines, of improving people's livelihoods, rebuilding communities, is going on and on and on. And I was hearing, Your Highness, this morning from you about the work that's going on in Ukraine at the moment, clearing mines to get those corridors open. So if I was wearing a hat, which I should do today because it's raining, a hat off to you. Plants and their positive impact is obviously very much at the heart of what we're both doing, and there's great synergies between organisations. We're now in our 352nd year, and the knowledge and the skills and experience that were built up over the years is evident in our collaboration in 40 countries on research around the world, and 50 countries with our research programs. And this includes the Middle East and Afghanistan and areas affected by conflict. All known life depends on plants, yet 40% of the world's plants are threatened with extinction, 40%, which is a sad reflection on where this world is going. So the need for plant research, education, conservation, horticulture, and engaging people with the natural world has never been greater. Whether that's for health and well-being or whether it's for livelihoods, it's an incredibly important mission. So we stand together here, the four of us, all of us actually really, with a lot of synergy between the two organisations. Not only through addressing practical issues, which is the most immediate thing, but also by giving the all-important hope for a better future. And it's that hope, I think, that you will plant this tree for others to enjoy and to reflect on, and to come back and say, that was planted by a fantastic organisation that's made such a difference to the livelihoods and the life of people in some very difficult parts. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And Your Excellency and all those gathered in this global garden, thank you so much for the honour of planting the Roots of Peace in Scotland. For my forefathers were born in these same soils of Scotland in 1701 and ventured forth to the United States of America. And to stand here today to return back to my roots is such a deep honor. Roots of Peace began in 1997 following the tragic death of the late Princess Diana, with a vision of turning mines to vines, replacing the scourge of landmines with bountiful vineyards and orchards worldwide. And as we remove one landmine and plant one grapevine, it is an act of peace. Throughout the past 25 years, Roots of Peace has removed hundreds of thousands of landmines, unexploded ordnance, and cluster munitions. In turn, we have planted over 6 million fruit trees in Afghanistan. This is the spring. It is a time to plant, and we reap what we sow. Tragically, my colleague here who is working tirelessly on the borders of the Ukraine as a proud, not just a princess, but the compassion that she brings to those refugees. There will be no planting in Ukraine, a country that feeds most of the Central Asia. 10% of the world's wheat is grown, 20% of the corn, and half of the world's sunflower oil comes from the Ukraine. But conversely, we must turn our eyes back to Afghanistan, because Afghanistan is the most heavily mined country in the world. Yet conversely, it is 80% dependent upon agriculture. And Roots of Peace today employs over 400 Afghan farmers. We are leading with the shovel and not the sword, turning swords into plowshares, spears into pruning hooks, so that nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. I cannot thank you for the planting opportunity, for I plant this on behalf of the Afghan farmers and families who we need 1,000 golden shovels. It is such a small amount. I'm very, very grateful to the United States of America. Currently, I manage 30 million under contract with USAID, and one of my colleagues here with the U.S. Department of State, with INL, International Narcotics and Law Enforcement, we're turning poppies into pomegranates. And beautiful pomegranates are planted right now as we speak in this spring in Kandahar and Helmand, and apples and apricots in Ghazni, Bordok, Logar, fresh grapes and vineyards in the Shamali Plains, beautiful saffron from Herat, and to the north in Badakhshan, sweet Bing cherries. We want to restore Afghanistan as the garden of Central Asia and not have it be known for the dormant landmines that permeate the soil, where children kick a soccer ball out of bounds and lose a life or limb, or those who repatriate, pick flowers for their mothers, only to have their mothers see the horror of their children being blown up by landmines while holding a bouquet of flowers. And my colleague here, I stand in solidarity with, for we have just signed an MOU, and tragically, I will now be working in the Ukraine. It is the 5th most heavily mined country in the world, and landmines are currently being placed in the ground and the humanitarian corridors where the women and children are desperately trying to flee while their husbands remain on the front line. Boom, boom, boom. The mothers watch the horrific loss of their children. I am a mother of 4 children. I proudly have six grandchildren, and it is my greatest honor to return to the soils of Scotland, where I hope my great-great-great-grandchildren will know that their local granny, their Gigi, has done something significant with this shovel and not the sword. My dearest colleague and friend, Her Serene Highness, Princess Angelika, namesake for a true angel on this planet, if you would kindly say a few words about this very important planting and our partnership for peace.
Your Excellency, dear distinguished participants of this important gathering today, I couldn't imagine a more symbolic place and moment than this one, than planting a tree during the springtime, planting a roots of peace today. We plant them in the name, in the memory, and as obligation for those who today are fighting for peace, doing everything in their power to maintain peace around the world, in Ukraine and in many other countries. We plant this tree today, this roots of peace, as an obligation as our duty and as our promise for all those who are physically and mentally maimed by landmines around the world. Today, 60 million people across the globe woke up in the fear of being killed or injured by landmines. There are landmines which were planted 30 years ago around the world, in the countries like Cambodia, but there are also newly planted landmines in Ukraine. Today, at this moment, people in Ukraine are trying to escape their beloved country by the humanitarian corridors which are contaminated with landmines. Today, cities and villages are contaminated with newly planted landmines, which have very often the shape of the butterfly. Butterfly for us humanitarians is a symbol of renewal, the symbol of hope and the symbol of transformation. Today it's also the symbol of tragically killing weapon which is killing children and civilians. Very soon this beautiful tree which we will plant today will become a big tree, often visited by the butterflies. I hope that all of you who stay in this beautiful historical country will visit this tree and see these butterflies and promise to yourself, as we promise today to ourselves, because it's our duty and obligation, that we will together create a butterfly effect to finally create a mine-free world. It may happen with our international commitment. I feel very, very grateful that today we can plant this tree, which will be a symbol, global symbol, for all of those who were physically and mentally maimed by landmines. We are the voice of those who don't have any. This tree will be very, very important for us humanitarians.
It's our honour, Your Highness. And a few words about the tree, so we know what we're planting. It's a species of water hickory, Carrier aquatica. It's essentially a wetland species. It tolerates not only wetter soils, but also will grow well in dry soils as well. So it's a symbol of endurance, actually, because it can put up an awful lot. This particular plant was collected, or the seed was collected in South Carolina in 2014 at sunset in late summer. We can picture the scene, it's a bit like differently there. And that was on the banks of the Savannah River at a place called Little Hell Landing Point, a location I'm told far more appealing than the name suggests. So it's my honour now to invite you to plant this tree in the hope of a better future.
Turning a little hell into a little heaven.
Well put, well put. So, my excellent team will...
Hello.
Susie, can I give you that?